Farmer's Keeper.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm the founder of Farmer's Keeper. We're your personal grain merchandiser, and we're not a commodity broker trying to tell you where to sell grain and where the grain markets are going. I want to show you here the three different buckets of how you can sell grain and hedge your risk, and when to use each one of those buckets. So let's start off with the most obvious way to sell your grain, which is elevator direct. Elevator direct bushels are bushels that you should absolutely go to your local co-op, merchandiser, grain processor, and sell directly to them with whatever pricing tools they have available. What those bushels are bushels that you know for sure are going to deliver to that grain elevator. They're not going to charge you any margin on what you do with them, and you know that they're going there, so you're not worried about basis of any other elevators in the area. For example, those are bushels that you might have in a certain field at harvest that are right next to a certain elevator that you don't have room to store in your own storage, that you've got to get to town at harvest. In that case, it wouldn't even matter what their basis is. They're so close, it's so convenient. You've got to get those bushels directly to that elevator. You don't need basis flexibility. The other example is futures and options. Futures and options is technically not selling physical grain, but what it is hedging on the board or on paper contracts of corn, soybeans, and wheat. Within your own risk parameters, you might consider using futures and options when you want to do two things: speculate on the market beyond what your production is, and or hedge risk against production that you don't know if you're going to have or not. A good example of that is if you see grain prices rising because there's a drought, you probably want to take advantage of that, but you're not able to sell it elevator direct because you might be in the middle of that drought and not able to sell any grain there. So you can synthetically do that on the board using futures and options, in which case you have basis flexibility, but you don't have marginless action. Because if the market goes, if you sell futures because there's a drought and the market goes even higher, those positions are going to be marginable as your performance bond because you've got to put up that performance guarantee to make sure that you're covering your 5 to 20% of margin calls within that. That's where you would use futures and options. And then there's a third bucket that not a lot of guys know today, but that Farmer's Keeper is trying to provide to you as a service. And that's doing it through pricing tools. When you sell futures through Farmer's Keeper, whether it's with any one of the pricing tools, like an HTA, a collar, an accumulator, or a managed pricing program, what you're able to do is set futures on your grain without having to worry about margin calls, because just like at the elevator, you're going to deliver physical bushels and that margin risk is being hedged for you. And just like futures and options, you are able to commit bushels without committing them to an elevator and maintain that basis flexibility. Now, we have other videos that we talk about why basis flexibility is so important if you go and deliver to multiple different elevators, more than one, and why it's really important, whether you can afford it or not to have a lot of marginable risk in your farm business. So using a pricing tool through Farmer's Keeper and selling your grain that way is a great way to hedge risk if you don't want to worry about margin calls and you deliver to more than one grain elevator. Remember, we are not a commodity broker trying to tell you where the markets are going or what's going to happen next so you can speculate on anything. We're a service that's your personal grain merchandiser that helps you sell your grain more efficiently so you don't have to worry about margin calls and you can maintain basis flexibility. If you want more information, go to our website at www.farmerskeeper.org or Call our team at 855-356-7733.
Farmer's Keeper.